Hello everybody and welcome to another week of Makers Monday. I am Anastasia Radloff, aka A Stamp and Blondie, and I'm excited to be here with you for another week of live step-by-step crafting. I hope you all had an amazing weekend. My husband and I took a little vacation, but let me just make sure that I'm live here. I'm live over on Facebook and also on YouTube, so if you're watching, make sure to comment, say hi, let me know where you're watching from. It's always fun to see where everybody is joining me from each week. All right, looks like I am good to go on both platforms, so I'm gonna close that out. Like I said, my husband and I took a weekend trip, so about 2.5 hours northeast is Legoland, Korea. And so we went on Friday, and on Friday we went to a mountain lake gondola. It was huge. It took you across this big lake and then up the side of a mountain, and it was really scary but a lot of fun. One of our friends told us about this gondola, and so it was nice to go across the lake, and then up at the top they had a little ice cream shop, so we got to enjoy the view. And then at the bottom on the way back they had a Starbucks Reserve. If you aren't too familiar with what a Starbucks Reserve is, it's more of an upscale, fancier Starbucks. They have fancier style drinks, desserts. So we enjoyed some different drinks out by the lake. It was a beautiful day outside. And then we drove to Legoland and we went on Saturday. Now, if you've ever been to a Legoland like in the States, it's basically the same thing as it is here in Korea. Of course, geared more towards younger kids, but they did still have some rides for adults. And so we rode some roller coasters and bought some Legos and just had a really fun day just acting like kids and getting to have fun at Legoland. And then on the way back on Sunday, there's quite a few Korean War monuments up in the area of Korea that we were in. So there was a huge Korean War monument to the United States. We stopped there. The gentleman that owns the land and the monument area, he's the one that erected it and maintains it and is the president of like a Korean Veterans Association. So he was there, and he gave us some coffee and we were able to talk about it with him. And then along the way home, we visited a Canada, France, Australia, and New Zealand Korean War monument to all the different countries that assisted during the war here in Korea. So it was a nice journey home through the mountains. There was some really long tunnels, like 8-kilometer long tunnels. So it was really cool to just drive around the countryside and see a different part of Korea that we get to experience. So I'm excited that we have a different trip coming up at the end of May to Japan. And so I've been planning a lot of that, and that's really exciting too. All right, so today we are going to create 3 projects featuring the Cheers and Sips bundle. Now, in my post yesterday on Facebook and Instagram, I had to give a big apology. When I went to go design these projects, normally during my right now it's a weird time with Stampin' Up! Because the end of April is when our annual catalog and our January through April mini catalog retires. So a lot of items are on the last chance list. They have been sold out because they've been discontinued. So it's really kind of a hard transition time to plan projects right now. So I went online and I swear I saw the Cheers and Sips bundle online and I have it. So I was like, okay, I will make my Makers Monday projects with this, knowing that it was a last chance item. Well, I went to go make my blog post, and everything that I'm featuring is sold out. So the designer series paper, the stamp set, and the dies. So I apologize in advance for featuring something that you may not be able to get, but if you have something similar in your craft room, you could still make these projects and just kind of tweak it to what you have. Today I'm going to be featuring 2 different techniques on 2 of the projects, so you can still transition that to whatever different projects you're going to be making in the meantime. So let's go ahead and swap the camera. I have one thing to go over, and then we will jump into our projects for this week. So the first thing I want to share is that I am a part of a new tutorial bundle group, the Papercraft Collective. I was invited to become part of this tutorial bundle group about a month and a half ago, and this month we put out the first tutorial bundle featuring my project. So what this is a tutorial bundle that you can purchase. It is now on my website under PDF tutorials. You get 8 different projects, step-by-step how to put those together with video tutorials. Now this month features the Relaxing Waterside. This is a brand new bundle from the upcoming May to August mini catalog. And so there's my project right there in the upper corner, you can see. So this bundle, like I said, it's paid, it's on my website. You get a full PDF tutorial with links to all of our videos on how to put the projects together. And you can add this to your order when it debuts on May 5th, so next week. So I just wanted to give a heads up, this tutorial is now in my tutorial shop, stampinblondie.com, right at the top, PDF tutorial, and then you'll be able to print it off, and then it has links to all of the private YouTube videos that you get for this tutorial bundle as well. So be on the lookout for more tutorials from myself and the Papercraft Collective group, and I just want to say thank you for them inviting me to be a part of their tutorial bundle. It was quite an honor to be asked to join that, so I am very excited to be a part of that. Now you may notice here we are doing something a little bit different. I have our Stampin' Up! Glass mat down because we are going to be doing some techniques that I mentioned. So yesterday on my website and Facebook and Instagram, I shared this card. Now our lighting today may be a little bit darker because I had to turn my lights. If I had them normal set up, it would be quite glary on the glass mat. So it's just a little bit darker than normal. You can still see everything though. So just a heads up about that. So here was our first project. Now this is all designer series paper. The only stamp that's on here is the Let's Celebrate. Everything else I hand cut from the designer series paper. This features Strawberry Slush and Timid Tiger for our card base and layers here. And this was a fun project to put together, lots of fussy cutting. This paper does not have any dies to go along with it. Now there are dies for some of the other designer series papers, but this one I had to hand cut all those little pieces out. So I had a lot of fun making this card, but I didn't want to share that one on Makers Monday and us being here for, 30 minutes with me just fussy cutting paper out. So our projects that we're going to create today, here is one of them. This is a fun flap card. Now the best thing about this project is that it is also a gift card holder. So I didn't add any white paper to the inside. You could add here and put a little note, but this is a fun gift card holder, and when you close it, you can't even see the gift card. So a little bit different layout for this card. This one has the Everyday Arches dies that we're going to use with that. And then it may be kind of hard to see, but if I tilt it the right way, there's some Wink of Stella on the ice cubes to make them have some glitter on there. Now this one is got our first technique. We're going to do some watercolor splatter on the back. This one features crushed curry for our background paper with Old Olive for our ink. And this is the one we're going to start with. We may need to let it dry a little bit before we finish it, so we'll kind of have to come back maybe to it at the end. And then this one, we are going to do some fun masking techniques. If you've never done masking, it's so easy and it really creates this fun little pattern on your paper. Not a lot of skills required for this, so it looks intimidating, but it's very, very easy. All right, so let's get started. Like I said, we are going to start with our crushed curry paper here. Looks like the Midwest is getting some rainy days here. It says, my mom says hello from Chile, Marion, Iowa. We have rain in Missouri. Chris Taylor, she said there's some rain in Missouri. It actually rained here overnight. We sleep, it's still nice outside to sleep with the windows open, so it was raining last night and there was some thunder, and it was perfect like sleeping weather with the window open and the rain and just hearing it. So I really enjoyed, I missed the rain. I missed good storms, like they're fairly fun. So it was nice to have some rain last night. All right, so here are our measurements for this project if you want to screenshot and see what we're gonna work with here today. We have a piece of crushed curry cardstock, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. We have a piece of watercolor paper, 3 3/4 by 5. A piece of vellum, which is 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. And then our piece of crushed curry cardstock, 3/4 by 3 1/4. And so that's our card. And then we have pieces from the designer series paper that we're just going to trim up here for our project. So we're going to tuck that in there for now. And these off to the side as well. We only need our watercolor paper first, and because we're using the glass mat, it's great because you can do watercoloring, painting on here, and it just wipes right off. So you don't have to worry about staining anything. That's why we're working with this today. So we are going to first start with our Stampin' Spritzer and one of our water painters. And I'm also going to take a drop of our Old Olive Re-Inker. And I want to make sure I get some of this out of the way so we're not getting it all on our paper. So first we're going to take our Old Olive refill, ink refill, and we're just going to do a drop, just 1 drop of ink is all we need, off to the side here. And we're going to spritz our paper with just regular water first. You want to kind of make sure your watercolor paper is wet before you use it for this technique. And then one of our aqua painters, you can see it pulled some of the green from when I was working with it earlier, but it'll still be okay. Once I'm done with this technique, I'll go and rinse it out and it'll be good to go for other colors as well. So we're gonna take this first, and on the side of our aqua painters, we're just gonna push some water from that and get water down here onto our glass mat. And we're gonna mix that and take our painter and just kind of flick the ink onto our paper. You just wanna make sure your workspace here is free from all other projects you may be working on. Okay, that looks good. And I'm just going to take my Stampin' Spritzer because I want the ink to kind of spread a little bit more than what it is. It's just kind of splattered right now. I could have achieved that with my Stampin' Blends, just flicking the marker, but because I want it to have more of this like watercolory background, I'm going to take my Stampin' Spritzer and just kind of spray the ink even more. Oh, I'm running out of water there. That's good though. And we're just going to kind of drip the water around so it kind of bleeds the ink onto our paper. Now with our little droplet of ink over here, like I mentioned earlier, this is very easy to just clean off. So I just take a baby wipe and just kind of put it right on top of that ink, and then it wipes right off. There we go. Like I said, the glass mat is very easy to clean. Now you could Let this dry depending on where you live and the humidity in the air. If you live in Arizona like I used to, this would have been dry probably by now. But right now in Korea, it's more of a humid environment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my heat gun and I am going to dry this. Now, when I made this project, I set it in my windowsill and it was a very sunny day. I set it in the windowsill and it dried within a few minutes. So it wasn't very long. Depending on how much water you put on your paper is how long it's going to take to dry as well. But we're just going to hit it with the heat gun. It will get a little loud here. So just give me a few minutes and I will be right back with this dry. So with the heat gun, you definitely want to move it around your paper. You don't want to hold it in the same spot too long. This is different than a hair dryer. This heat gun gets very, very hot. So I try not to hold my paper when I'm using it because you can burn yourself. But I'm just moving it around my paper to get that ink to dry. Here, and all those wet spots. Your paper will curl, but that's okay. And then if you have too much pulling in the area, you can take a little towel and just kind of dab if it's too wet. I'm just going to move it around here. Hit those spots you just dabbed, and that should be good. Now, depending on what you use to dry this, it may be hot. So I'm just going to wipe this off here, get all that ink from the splattering. And we have our paper here. So you can see it's kind of curled. So I'm just going to unfurl my paper here, kind of bend it backwards. And we're going to glue this down to our card base. Now I'm going to use liquid glue because I really want to get all of these little, I didn't test this before I came live. There we go. We're gonna really glue this down and I'm gonna put a clear block on top of this to really glue it down because the paper is curled and so it may have a hard time sticking a little bit. So we are gonna take, I have a really big clear block. Let me dig it out here. And we're just gonna hold that down and kind of move it off to the side for a minute there. While that glues down, we're gonna cut our pieces of designer series paper. So I pre-cut them out of the paper. We just need to trim them up a little bit. Hello, Courtney, long time no see. Yes, she says she keeps missing me live, so I'm glad that she was able to join. So we're just gonna trim up our pieces of cardstock here. Now, like I mentioned, unfortunately, this paper is sold out, but this technique and this layout you can still do with other designs. So I figured I made these cards for Makers Monday. I didn't want to skip out on doing it. I debated going back and forth. I was like, well, they can't, you know, buy the stuff that I make these projects with and make the same exact cards if they wanted to. But I figured some of you may already have this in your stash, or you could still do this layout with a different supplies. So I figured I'm not going to cancel Makers Monday just because you can't recreate the same exact projects I'm doing. So we're going to just trim these up, and they're quite easy to trim up because it's all circles and rounded edges. Some of these designs on this paper, like I mentioned earlier, there are dies to go along with it, but this one is just the cup. It doesn't have the little leaves to go with it, so we have to fussy cut this one. But no worries, easy peasy. There we go. And then this little one, the lemon and the lime, super simple to cut. Here we go. All right. Oh, I think they may be launching jets. I have my window closed in here, so, because it was raining earlier. Yep, launching airplanes. May get a little loud. Okay, we're also going to stamp our sentiment while we continue to wait for that to kind of flatten out. For our sentiment, we're just using Tuxedo Black Memento and the sentiment that says cheers, and then It's Your Day is a separate stamp. So we're going to do cheers. Now, I don't use my glass mat too often, so it's a little bit different to stamp on it. It's good because it's like a nice, like hard surface, so you don't have to worry. Oh, I need that open still. You don't have to worry about your stamps not fully stamping, but it's just a little weird. It's kind of more raised up than I'm used to. All right, so we are gonna glue our items down from vellum. Now, if you've never worked with vellum before, semi-opaque, and it's a little different because normally when we make our projects, you can see I work from the top down on our projects, or sorry, from the bottom up. So you have your card base, your layer, and you're building your card up. With vellum, you wanna work the opposite direction. So we're going to glue our sentiment here on first towards the bottom, and then our drinks and the little lemon we're going to add on with Stampin' Dimensionals. Hello, Barb from Tucson. And Teresa says she loves this paper. I know I haven't used it as much as I thought I would, but I really like the way it just kind of comes together. It's really fun. And then it has these little sentiments like cheers and kind of, they all fit together, which I really like. We're gonna add on the lemonade drink first. So that's gonna go to the right. And then this little like lime drink, limeade, kind of like a little mojito maybe. That's gonna go on there. And then our little lemon lime. Just gonna bring this over here. There we go. I'm right-handed. This little garbage can should be on my right side. So I love this little thing. I got this little garbage can from the Dollar Tree, and it looks just like the little garbage cans that we had in Tucson. And it's great for throwing away all those little strips of paper and dimensional backing. And then when it's full, I dump it into my big trash can. So I love that little thing. And then this is gonna go right there. Now we're gonna flip our vellum over, and where we have our cardstock and our designer series paper, that's where we're only going to add our glue. If you add it anywhere else, it'll show through, so you don't want that. And got a little bit right there we can add glue to. And then remove that big block, and this will go right here in the middle of our paper. Same thing, big block, just to kind of hold everything down. Now, as a final embellishment, these are the new shimmering dots. They'll be available in the May to August mini catalog, and I chose these because of these white ones. They're iridescent, but you can change the color of them to match whatever project with Stampin' Blends. Now, on this project, we're not going to be doing any changing of colors. We're just going to be adding 2 of the white dots. We're going to do one. They come in 2 different sizes, so we have one of the large white ones and one of the small ones. And there is our first project featuring the Cheers and Sips bundle. Now again, like I mentioned, you can still do this technique even if you don't have the Cheers and Sips bundle with this fun kind of watercolor background. It's really easy to do. Now this one, my first sample, I added way more ink to it, so it depends on how much ink you want to add to it, but it's still a fun little watercolor splatter technique in the background. So I hope you guys liked that project. That's our first one today. All right, moving on, we are going to do our next project here, the gift card holder. So we have our, actually, You could put a fun little Starbucks gift card in there because it's for drinks. So there you go. It just slips right on the inside there. And for this one, we are using Blackberry Bliss cardstock. Here's the measurements: 4 1/4 by 11, and a piece of Designer Series paper 2 by 4 1/4. So very simple kind of little layout pieces here. Let's get all of those out. Let's put those back in there for now. So 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. We're just going to do a basic easel card for this one. Use our bone folder here to crisp up our line. There we go. And we have that piece of Designer Series paper. What we're going to do is we're going to add glue to 3 sides of that so we create that little pocket. And you definitely want to use liquid glue for this because you want to get as close to the edge as possible for this, so that gives you the maximum use of that little pocket you're creating. So you could put more than just a gift card in here, but it's still fun to have that. So right there. Now just want to make sure it's kind of, oh, there we go. It's just flush to the edge there. Now we're gonna cut a piece of our paper off here. Now this is 2 inches wide, but we're gonna cut, and from the score line, let me measure so I can give you the right. You're gonna cut at 3 3/4. So we're gonna grab our cutter, paper trimmer, and measure out 3 3/4. So I use my trimmer upside down. It's weird, I know. I don't know why. I think it's because of our last trimmer was easier to use upside down. But at 3 3/4, oh wait, no, sorry. You want it to be 3 3/4 wide. So this is 5 1/2, right? Yep. So we want to cut off, let me measure, cut off 1 3/4. I almost cut the whole thing off. 1 3/4 is what you want to cut off. So your paper, your Designer Series paper is 2 inches. And so this will overhang just a little bit. You can see there. So it's completely covered. And we can move that off to the side. Come back in with our bone folder to crisp up that line. There we go. And we have 2 pieces of cardstock cut with the Everyday Arches dies. These are probably my new favorite dies. I use them all the time. Normally, we use them kind of right side up like this. Today, we're gonna flip them upside down and they're gonna be like that. We're gonna glue the first one on. Now, when you glue this on, you don't wanna add glue to the entire back or you're gonna glue your card shut. So just about the top half of this, add glue. And then right there, so you can see it overhangs on our card. Now this one, we are going to stamp the background using Strawberry Slush ink. So let's get that out. And then the stamp set has a strawberry, so we're gonna use that. I don't even think I showed the stamp set. Here's the stamp set, Cheers and Sips. So here is the little strawberry that we're gonna use. On this project, we're also going to use the tall glass, the little celery flourish. We're also gonna use this line stamp right here, which will be the top of the drink and the ice. For this one, we're just gonna use the cheer sentiment like the last project, but we are going to do some die cutting on this as well. Now the best part about this project is that the dies are small, so they can fit in the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. All right, Strawberry Slush for our card here. Now I am gonna bring in my grid paper just because we're gonna be doing some stamping off, and so I want to ink up my strawberry, stamp onto the grid paper, and then we're gonna stamp onto our little background here. I chose to do Stamp Off because I didn't want my strawberries to be super bright. I just wanted a little bit of them in the background. And we're not going to fill the whole arch with strawberries. We're just going to do kind of the top 3/4 of it because we're going to have our sentiment down here. So that's good. Let's just do one more right there. Right. We can put that away. We're going to stamp our cheers. Same tuxedo black as we did for our first project. And that'll go right at the bottom here. Now, while we have our tuxedo black open, we're going to stamp our drink glass and then the coordinating things to go with it. So we can put that to the side. We need this little line stamp, the kind of celery looking topper, and then the glass, as well as the ice cubes. So we'll start with the glass. We're gonna build our drink. Ink it up all the way. Here we go. This little glass line, so that's where our glass is full until we are gonna stamp the ice cubes after we color it in. Just in case our ink bleeds just a little bit when we color with our Stampin' Blends, we want to color those in or add the ice cubes after. So there's our little ink flourish for our celery. And we're gonna color this in with Strawberry Slush and Old Olive Stampin' Blends. So our light Strawberry Slush first. And I'm using the brush tip because it's quite a big area to color in. And so the brush tip makes it a lot easier and quicker to fill all that in. And then we're gonna take the dark and just kind of, you can see along the edge here, let me bring it a little closer. I just did a little bit of a darker kind of shadowy to the bottom here. There we go. Now we can stamp our ice cubes. And want to make sure they're going kind of the right way. There we go. And we're going to color those in with our Wink of Stella glitter brush. I'm going to die cut them first. I want to make sure that it's die cut, and I don't want to have it wet with Wink of Stella to go through the die cut machine. We're going to color in our little celery here with Old Olive. Start with the light. I don't know, celery, lettuce, I don't know what this is. It's just a little accent on your drink. I mean, if you made it red, it could be a Bloody Mary, but I wanted to coordinate with the designer series paper. So we'll call this a strawberry daiquiri. Wait, no, those are frozen. Strawberry lemonade. And then our dark, we're just gonna come in and follow the veins on the lettuce here. There we go. And we're gonna die cut these. So we've got our mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine and our plates, our dies. We've got the drink and this little lettuce thing. Oops, dropped it. There we go. And run that through. Careful not to move it. Hello, Carol. I hope you had a great weekend. I hope everybody had a great weekend. It was so nice here in Korea. It was beautiful. And then, of course, it rained last night, and now it's back to being chilly. But that's spring for you. You can't decide. I would much rather it be a little chillier here than come summer when it's gonna be so humid outside. All right, now we can color in our ice cubes with some Wink of Stella. This just gives them a little bit of shimmer and shine. Now, if you've never used Wink of Stella, it's really great because it's buildable glitter. So you can add more and more shine to your project. I have no loose glitter in my craft room. It's really bad to have loose glitter with like military uniforms and stuff. So this, hopefully, oh there, you can see the shine on it. It really sparkles with that glitter brush. Our little flourish here of celery or lettuce or whatever you want it to be, we're gonna glue this on here and then flip it over, and we're gonna add dimensionals to the back of that. And that's gonna go on our pre-stamped arch. It's gonna go towards the right side, or sorry, left side. And then we have these little pieces of designer series paper that we're gonna fussy cut out for the side here. So there we go. So on our trip this weekend, we didn't even know this, the part of Korea we went to was the founding of a place called Dakgalbi, Dakgalbi, Galbi. So it is like a spicy chicken. You would think of it as like a spicy chicken stir fry. So at the table, there's this big like round flat top grill, and it had chicken and spicy sauces, and what else was it? Cabbage, sweet potatoes, like slivers of sweet potatoes, and some kind of like the top of like leeks. And so I will say I am not an adventurous eater. And sometimes chicken, like it's good, I like chicken, but sometimes it has a weird texture and then I don't like to eat it. It can be too rubbery. But this was so good. It was so spicy. The worst part was because we had been outside all day at Legoland, our lips were all chapped, and then you add spicy to it and it was just, whew. But it was so good. We didn't even know that that was the area for it. We asked the hotel clerk where was a good place to go get some food, and he suggested this restaurant, and it was delicious. Come to find out after that it was the like birthplace of this spicy chicken stir fry stuff, and I'm so glad we tried it. We were gonna go to a different restaurant. We're like, oh, here's that restaurant the guy suggested, let's go. And it was a great restaurant. All the restaurants here are like mom and pop places. So even if they kind of serve the same thing, they all do it just a little bit different. And I really like that you could have one type of food at one restaurant, the same type of food at a different, but done like entirely different. All right, so we've got our little strawberry, blackberry put down with dimensionals. We've got our front put on here, and then on the inside, you have that little pocket that you can add your gift card to. So that's our second project today with the Cheers and Sips bundle. So really fun little cute gift card holder. Like I said, you could put a piece of white cardstock in here to write your message, but this is a fun gift card holder. You could also put money. I'm like, everybody loves money, but that's a fun little project, kind of different use of the Everyday Arches dies that I love oh so much. Those are my favorite dies right now. They go with everything. Do I get homesick? Carol asked if I get homesick. Yes, I get homesick a lot, but it's a different kind of homesick. Of course, I miss my family and friends. Of course, like that is an easy yes to say. But I miss other things too. The one thing after my family and friends, of course, that I miss the most is Mexican food. Oh my gosh, I love Mexican food and I miss it oh so much. They have good like Italian food and of course Korean food and pizza and, you know, tacos, but not the good tacos, like the Mexican tacos. I miss really good Mexican food. I haven't driven here. I've driven here twice in the almost year that I've lived here. My husband drives because it's just too scary for me. So I don't really drive here. I miss, what else do I miss? It's not a lot. I feel like I have everything that I need here, minus my friends and family, of course. But Mexican food. I miss really good Mexican food. It's, you know, you don't really think you miss things until you don't have them. And the variety of things, like going to the grocery store, the variety of things. Yes, we have different cereals, but I miss my favorite cereal. I miss, I don't know, I miss Dutch Brothers. It's a coffee shop in Tucson. I miss that. But yeah, I really don't miss a lot because I'm getting out and exploring a lot and seeing different things, and that keeps me fulfilled. But Mexican food that I don't have to cook. Like I can make tacos and enchiladas and I can make that, but it's food that I don't have to cook. That's, I mean, really good Mexican food. So yes, I get homesick, but in a different way. It's weird to explain. All right. Our last project we're going to make today is this card here, and we're going to do a really fun masking technique on this one. So here's your dimensions that you need. You need a piece of Berry Burst cardstock, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4, your basic card size. Let's see here. You need a piece, this is from the Cheers and Sips Designer Series paper. You need a piece of this 4 by 5 1/4, and we can glue this down right away here. Let's see, that's gonna go right here. There we go. And then we're gonna put this off to the side because we're gonna work on our piece here. So this is a piece of white cardstock, 3 3/4 by 5, and we are gonna do a fun masking technique on this. Now Stampin' Up! Has what they call masking paper. It comes in a pack of 12, and I will tell you this pack will probably last you your entire crafting career, because unless you do a lot of masking, this package will last you forever. So what it is it's 2 pieces. One, this down here is a sticky side. And what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna cut this in half, just right at where it opens up. There we go, so we have 2 pieces here. And this is gonna become our masking piece. So I'm gonna take one of these and just kind of rip down the side here to create that fun little design. Same thing here. Now I'm curious, like, if I'm homesick, what else do I miss? Like, I don't know. Of course, my family is number one, of course. But with technology and texting and FaceTime, it's been great because even though the time difference is a little different, like right now it is 9:44 a.m. Tuesday, but it's 8:45 p.m. Monday on the East Coast. So even though the time difference is like 15 hours or something, it doesn't feel like it. I feel like when we lived in Italy, that was a lot worse. So even though like I'm asleep and my family is awake, but I'm awake and they're asleep, it's still not bad. I don't feel like it's that bad. Okay, so what I did is I removed the backing of the masking tape. Like I said, this side's sticky, and we're just gonna lay this part down on top here, and it's gonna hold our paper in place with that stickiness. And we're gonna do the same thing on the bottom here. Oh, I know another thing I miss. Dairy Queen ice cream. It's like they don't, I haven't had I love soft serve ice cream, and they only have like Baskin Robbins like hard scoop ice cream, which is still good, but I miss like a Blizzard. I miss a Dairy Queen Blizzard. Especially when it gets hot outside and all you want is like cool soft ice cream. Yeah, I miss Mexican food and Dairy Queen. All right, this other half is gonna go down here. There. All right, and this part right here is what is going to be used with our old olive ink and a blending brush. So we're just going to take our blending brush and swirl it here. And I'm just gonna use my grid paper to kind of tap off. There we go. And then swirl our paper. This side doesn't want to stay down, but that's okay. My mom says she keeps a digital clock specifically set to soul time so I know when to FaceTime or text her. Yep, so I have on my iPhone, I have different world times set. I have New York, so I know what time it is on the East Coast. I have one for Chicago, so I know Midwest, where my mom and best friend live. East Coast is my brother. I have Utah, Arizona time, so I know what time it's there. And then I also have West Coast, so I know what time it is where my other sister lives. So, yep, I have all of those different time zones set, so I know. And they know, like, when they text, I'll respond like 12 hours later when I wake up. So we're just using our blending brush to fill in that little area. Now, first, this doesn't want to stay very well. Normally it does, and you get this really cool, like, hard line, but that's okay. It'll still look really cool when we pull this off. And you want to make sure to be really gentle when you pull this off because it is sticky. It can rip your paper. So you just want to be really gentle when you pull this up. Now, I'm sure other demonstrators use this masking tape. They can use it in a variety of different ways, but this is how I use it. So I can show you, and you can do really fun techniques with like straight lines and stuff, but I think it looks really cool when the paper's ripped because you get that that kind of like wavy effect with it. Oh, it's ripping my paper. You just have to go really slow with it. Okay, it's like really ripping my paper right now. Maybe if I go this end, it'll be better. But you can see it has these really fun little lines to it. And if you go slow, it won't rip your paper. But, you know, when you're trying to not keep everybody on Facebook for hours, there we go. So it has this a really fun way of masking that entire area right there. And then we can now add this down to our card base. And because we just did blending with ink, you don't have to wait for anything to dry, which is good. There we go. And I am going to use a baby wipe to clean that up there, or just wipe it off with this. There we go. Just a microfiber towel that I keep for cleaning up ink. All right, we're gonna use that same Cheers stamp in the upper left, and then we're also gonna use one that says to you. So we have Cheers there, and then to you right below it. I have 2 pieces of that designer series paper that we can fussy cut out here. There we go. I'm still thinking of things that I miss from home. Not much other than my family, friends, Mexican food, and Dairy Queen. It's different. This is the second time I've lived overseas. The first time I had never even visited out of the country before moving to Italy. So that was a little hard, but I felt like in Italy, because the language was a lot easier, it wasn't bad. I mean, it was really easy to get around. Here it's a little more tough because obviously I don't know Korean, but I feel like I still am able to get around quite easily. And of course there's translation apps that basically save your butt every time you go anywhere, but it's not bad. People here, some of them speak English, so it's not anything that I like. I don't hate it here. I actually really like it here a lot. It's fun to get around on the bus and explore and go to the markets and see just a different part of the world. All right, we've got our designer series paper cups down, and then the last thing, this is the let's see, specialty Rick Rack, and this is in Old Olive. This is from the current mini catalog, and I'm gonna cut this into a bow. Here we go. And we're gonna tie that into a bow. This little Rick Rack is a little tough to tie into a bow because it is that zigzaggy Rick Rack pattern, but once you get it pulled through, it's not that bad. And then I am going to trim the edges at an angle. This does tend to fray pretty easily, but we'll still try to delay as much fraying as possible. And I'm going to add that on with a mini glue dot because it is more of a meshy ribbon. You don't want to add liquid glue because it will get everywhere. And then right below our sentiment. And then that is our last card today, featuring the Cheers and Sips bundle. Don't forget your ice cubes. Oh, so I used different designer series paper. So this one, the ice cubes are actually pre-printed on the paper. This one, I just chose a different cup from that same paper, and this one doesn't have ice cubes. You could stamp little ice cubes on there though. But yeah, I like this. You can mix it up with different designer series papers, but that little masking is such an easy technique, and it's really fun. It creates that pop of color there, and I like it. Carol said her son was stationed there a couple years ago. Did he like it? Did he like Korea? I said I love it here. It's a lot of fun. The people are so nice. It's so safe. People leave their purses and iPhones and on the table while they go outside to smoke, and nobody bothers their stuff. You could drop your debit card on the ground and come back hours later and it'll still be there. People are just nice and respectful, and it's clean. It's not like the subways aren't dirty and smelly, and I really like that here. All right, so our 3 projects that we worked on today are here. Let me know in the comments which one is your favorite. I'm just gonna put that there so we can keep that down. We have our crushed curry with our watercolor technique, our masking technique, and then our gift card holder. So let me know which one in the comments today is your favorite. Let's see, my favorite is, it's a tie between these two. I really like the gift card holder and how different it is, but I really like the colors on this splatter technique here. So let me know which one is your favorite this week. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining me for another week of Makers Monday. I look forward to coming to you next week with all new supplies from the May to August mini catalog. I look forward to seeing you then.